Oh boy, it's that time again. That's right, it's time for another balanced data slate. And by that, I mean another disappointment for half the people that play Warhammer. And as a niche content creator, I have taken it upon myself to give my totally irrelevant opinion on how to fix Imperial Knights. Well, I'm sure you're asking, new viewer or old viewer that should totally subscribe to my channel, how can we fix the index even though we're probably gonna get a codex later in the year? Please, for the love of the God Emperor GW, give us a new codex by the end of the year. But wishful thinking aside, the core issues of why Knights suck are, well, the core rules of the game and their own rules. Whether it be abilities, weapon profiles, and basic things that other armies can do that Knights struggle to do. And here's the thing, they're having some of the same issues they had back in 9th edition, to an extent, if not worse. Okay, before we start, can we talk about this? Where is GW getting this data from? You're telling me that armies that have been in the gutter for the past 3 months magically have a 45% win rate. It raises a slew of questions I have, such as, what's their data source? What's the sample size? Which tournaments are they collecting their data from? Are they only collecting data from tournaments they sponsor? Because it honestly looks like they're cherry picking the results with this data. Seriously, barely anyone plays these armies since they got nerfed into the ground, because why play an army that is most likely gonna lose? And you just wasted 3 to 4 hours of your life on a game that you know you were going to lose. Okay, questions aside, let's first go over GW's usual band-aid fix, which is good old points reductions. Now, don't get me wrong, point reductions are greatly appreciated, and I will admit, thank you GW for reducing the point cost of the Potato Knights, but please make them a bit cheaper, maybe like 30 to 60 points cheaper. But honestly, sometimes point reductions don't really help. Okay, a lot of the time it barely helps, especially for Knights since all war gear is free now. And I really needed that extra armor grab on my list since I need action monkeys for an army that usually has less than 10 models. In a game where everything can easily kill a knight, or movement block me easily since terrain doesn't favor knights at all. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know knight point values are hard to balance, but there are so many issues and many of them point reductions won't fix. Also, why the is the literal gun platform 5 points cheaper than the I need to be within 18 inches of my opponent for my guns to even work platform? Seriously, why? You are literally required to take Mythic Hero on the Valiant for it to even be good, and with that enhancement it's nearly the same as its old point cost, and it isn't even that big a threat since it can't Overwatch anymore. Now, I'm sure you'll all get a kick out of this because what's even funnier is that in GW's own balanced data slate video, they literally said we are trying to fix some of the core gameplay issues. Well, that's great and all, but points are not the core issues with Knights. The rules are. The real core gameplay issues of 10th edition were the knife-eared bastards themselves. And just because you fix the core gameplay issues of one army doesn't mean it's gonna fix it for a lot of the other armies. Now, I'm not gonna go over how to fix every single knight variant in this video, but I have some shorts planned for that since they don't need that much work. Gonna do this with Custodes too because I also need to make more shorts to please YouTube. All hail the algorithm, but I'm gonna explain some fixes I would like to see. Now, the first and most obvious change how Overwatch works for Titanic units. Let us use it for 2 CP, please. We've had the scaling CP cost in the 9th edition Knights Codex. See, it's literally right here. I don't understand why they even thought taking Overwatch away from Knights and Titanic units was a good idea. Oh yeah, that's right, the knife-eared assholes are the reason. They are literally the reason for most of the recent core gameplay changes. Next is Towering and Titanic and its stupid interaction. How I can't see an enemy when they can see me no matter what unless I'm touching the building is stupid. So magically I'm blind to an enemy literally in my line of sight because this building is in between us, but because I'm Titanic, I can't shoot back at them, but they can shoot back at me with impunity, which is really dumb because that's not how line of sight works in real life. Think about that really hard for a second and why it's stupid, because I can't move through buildings to get to them for melee, and if they wanted, could play Ring Around the Ruins the entire game. Honestly, towering overall is a stupid mechanic and needs to be thrown out. Next is the thing that I know a lot of us Knight players complain about, which is the durability of Knights. Now, I also know that it's hard to balance, and honestly, no it's not. I play Custodes, and they out-tank Knights. Why? Because their invuln saves are against everything and also a 4-up. And Custodes are also an elite heavy army, but Knights are even more elite, because we only have less than 10 models on average. Seriously, why are Knights at 5 of invuln save only against shooting? They should be a 4-up against everything, because with how few models we have, dying to stuff in melee is ridiculously easy and every loss really hurts us. And being tough doesn't cut it when there are so many stratagems that give +1 to wound and also hit to most if not all armies. Also, while I'm at it on the subject of stratagems, we have no way to generate command points. and most of our stratagems are now 2 command points. I think you're starting to see the problem. But I can also hear you saying, oh, but you have a feel no pain. It's a 6-up feel no pain, and only on a 5 when we're honored. Now, please tell me how easily you can achieve this when your opponent is most likely going to be either A, hiding the unit their warlord is attached to from your knights, or B, move blocking you from getting to their deployment zone. And I know you're also going to say, but what about strategic reserves? Ah yes, let me put my heavy hitter in reserves at the start of the game, or 2 of my armigers, which means less targets for your opponent to choose from that would then get dumpstered on coming out of reserves, or even just prevented from arriving from reserves by blocking table edges. And also, Mysterious Guardian doesn't count. I shouldn't have to pay 30 points to deep strike in an army that has nothing that can deep strike. So honestly, I would rather just score primary and secondary instead of focusing on the side quests that might not ever happen. Honestly, at this point, I would be perfectly fine if we got rid of the Feel No Pains, because Custodes Feel No Pains only work against devastating mortal wounds, and they still out-tank Imperial Knights. But anyways, one small rant of many over. Another thing I would like to see that could make a comeback that we had at the start of 10th edition, which was bondsman abilities affecting the large knights. This one irks me a lot because let me explain it in a way that shows how stupid it is.
Knight aspirant, it is time to advance and charge the enemy. I have taught you everything I know. Now go and gain glory for the house. For the Emperor and High King. Ah, they grow up so fast.
Hey, aren't you supposed to be charging in with me?
Oh, sorry, I can't.
But why? You just taught me how to do that. Didn't you, I don't know, also know how to advance and charge the enemy, sir?
Nope, sorry, I can't. Don't know how to.
But you literally just taught me how to do that like 5 minutes ago.
Sorry, can't. Those is the rules.
So now you hopefully understand how stupid this change was. Because like I said, at the start of 10th edition, the large knights could also use bondsman abilities, since bondsman abilities are known as knightly teachings, but I guess that was way too much for some reason. The final fix I wish knights would get that I'm sure everyone can agree with is build your own character, or at least make a special hero variant of knights like Canis Rex that just have different stat profiles. We literally have named knight characters shown in the codexes, so GW, please make a special profile for them. Knights have only had one character since their inception. I mean, it'd honestly be really cool if the warlord was acting as the high king of the knight house. That would bring so much more flavor to knights like you can't even imagine. It's kind of like in 9th edition with the relics that knights had, like the special Avenger Gatling cannon or whatever special weapon I can't remember they had. Give me a character to run that isn't Canis Rex, although Canis Rex is actually pretty cool. But I want something else that isn't generic Questoris Knight for 2069 Blaze It. But anyways, in summary, the way to fix knights is points are not the band-aid fix for an army struggling due to core gameplay issues, durability issues, overall army issues, and the lack of character variety. Hey, as always, thank you once again for watching this video. Don't forget the basic YouTube shtick. Like, comment, subscribe, and maybe join the Discord for more adventures and terrible financial decisions. And remember, being poor is a choice.